Looks like we are live, hopefully. If, yeah, please let us know if you can see and hear us. So we'll be, hopefully I did the right thing. I'm not quite sure.
Let me see. Should be live on. Yeah, I can see that we are live. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, oh, good. Okay. Hello. Yeah, we'll wait maybe 1-2 more minutes, maybe for some other folks. Have you checked the YouTube? Is it working?
Yeah. I looked at YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, hopefully the quality will be fine. Yeah, good luck, guys. Thank you. Okay. You can see some confirmations.
How many in our team? For now, only 2 of us.
Yeah. Weather is terrible here in the UK, so we're development when it's looking. Yeah, in Poland we do have pretty cool weather now, I would say. Yeah.
Pretty hot.
But once I traveled to the UK, it was February, I believe.
Yeah, you were almost crashed.
Yeah, I almost crashed, and yeah, we had the emergency landing in Birmingham instead of in London. So yeah, first time in the UK, and that was something. Yeah. All right.
You guys, all right. We already have some questions. So before we begin, we did this. We wrote all the code as 2 guys. Yes, I confirmed that. Like Paco, dshop, Convey, Chronicle, all this stuff.
Yeah. So for now, speaking about the code, we have like 2 organizations. So one is the DevMentors itself. So in here we do have actually 2 applications being based on the microservices. So the first is the dshop, which we discussed during the distributed.NET Core here on the YouTube. And the second one is the Paco. So more advanced, actually the better one. And yeah, so this is the first organization, and the second is basically all about the tools. So in here we have the Convey, Chronicle, and other stuff.
Pactify.
And also Pactify and Strata. Yeah. So everything related to the infrastructure and the non-business code, actually, I would say.
Okay, I think we should actually start officially.
Yeah. So almost 3 minutes. So welcome all of you, and thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm kind of nervous actually because this is the very first time that we are actually doing the live on the YouTube
in English.
And in English actually. Yeah, maybe some of you has noticed that we've already done 1 or 2 webinars, but they were made in Polish to the Polish community. We'll talk about this later. Maybe we'll talk about the agenda first. We don't have this fancy slides, but basically what we would like to talk about today, we actually have 2 things. The first is the Microservices.NET, so the course that we are going to publish within like 5 days. So the September 17th, and the second topic would be the future plans for the DevMentors as the YouTube channel and the code itself. So yeah,
and if you have any questions, just feel free to write them on a chat. We'll be either answering them like in real time, like by skipping some of our topics, or we can just do some summary session at the end. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that we can start with the microservices.net. So as you probably noticed, within 6 or maybe 7 last weeks, we published few videos on the YouTube channel. So basically, those are the demo lessons from the
Mhm.
upcoming course called Microservices.net. So yeah, if we would see, maybe we can add this. Whoa, that was called
Is
a
it my
recursion.
screen that you're sharing?
Is it? It's yours actually. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. If you go to our YouTube channel here, you'll find there under the videos that we published this 6 lessons recently, like you said, and also the lesson. Actually, not the lesson. This video before, which was called "Me Paco and Microservices.net," which was like a general introduction to this whole project. And then we published these 6 lessons. I mean, these lessons aren't really like related to each other in terms of topics. We try to actually show like different aspects of the microservices, whether it's something like fundamental, like architecture or CQRS, going through like more advanced topics like this inbox outbox pattern, and talk also with we talk about security, tracing, like a lot of different or testing, a lot of different aspects of building and deploying microservices. So that was one of the goals of these lessons, just to show you like there is a lot of things going on, and this is just 6 lessons out of over 40 that we have planned. So if you go to our website, you'll find here at the very bottom that there are these sections planned for this course, and you can expand each one of the sections. And here you will find over 40 different lessons. So that's the agenda for the course. And actually, this whole course is based on our stationary workshops that we've been doing for the companies, both in Poland and abroad. And these stationary workshops would last from 3 to 5 days. And there is this is like the topics that we'll cover through the stationary workshops, or even more topics, I would say, because there's like even more content there. So this is like pretty much battle tested agenda that you can find there. And that's what will be released actually with the whole course, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Basically, I think that we can cover the questions that that are pretty often comes from all of you guys. Because one more thing, which is also pretty important for us also as the publishers of this course. If you have any doubts or questions or anything that is related to the DevMentors itself, but I would say in this case more rather the course itself. Right in the left bottom corner, you have this icon, and this allows you to chat with us. This is the pretty much live chat. So if you'll have any questions related to anything, you can ask us, and we'll do our best to answer.
Yeah,
and
you can use the chat or email or Gitter, pretty much anything.
Yeah. So basically, this is also some additional communication channel between us. And through the last few weeks, we actually collected quite a lot questions. Most of them were duplicated, so we are going to cover them more or less. The very first question is how long the course is going to be. And basically the answer, even though it's not, if you would go to the very bottom, you can see that only the demos lessons have the proper, in here, proper values when it comes to the minutes. And of course, this will be updated once the course will be published. But we estimate that the course itself will last for about 25 hours. So slightly
over 20
more,
hours.
Slightly more than the distributed.NET Core. And the distributed.NET Core lasts for about 20 hours, but I would say the big difference when it comes to these two courses is that within the distributed .NET Core, we had this assumption that if we'll have any exception, any issues within the code, we'll not cut this, and we'll simply try to solve the issue live. And so if you have followed the whole course, you've probably seen a few moments which we simply were stuck, and we tried our best to figure the solution out. So this is why the course, even though we had just like 20 lessons or maybe even less, it took us like 20 hours. Within the new course, we simply we are assuming that everything is working. Of course, if something happened to us, we simply cut this just to not to waste your time, right? Because we don't want to, force you to sit in front of your computers and waiting for us to figure the solution out. So this is the main difference. And of course, if you would compare the I would say the amount of the material and the way we are discussing the topics, you would see that even though it's like 5 hours more than the distributed .NET Core, there's much more knowledge in there. So I would put it this way.
Especially starting with the fundamentals, like clean architecture approach, like the domain that we are that it's there in this packet, which is like more interesting, more complex, I would say. And then going through event-driven architecture, like more in depth, for example, the message broker and some additional patterns there, the API gateway, and then especially with testing, observability, security, which is also quite new in this course, and then for the DevOps stuff. So some topics are similar, but there's a lot of nuance.
Yeah, actually, that's the second question. So it's worth answering. What's the difference actually between the distributed .NET Core and the new course? So whether this is completely different, whether this is some sort of extension for the distributed .NET Core, maybe you could cover this up.
So if you are like really new to the microservices, like you've never worked with them, I would suggest to just take a look at our distributed .NET Core course that you will find here on the YouTube channel under the playlist. And if you feel like these microservices, sound reasonable, or that is maybe not that complicated, I would then go for this course. Or if you want like latest up-to-date knowledge with some additional patterns, I would also go for the Microservices.NET course, like by skipping the distributed.NET Core course. So yeah, that would be my answer actually. But if you're like really new to this topic, I would suggest starting with this one, the free one. And if you feel that this is interesting and you don't feel like overwhelmed with a lot of different aspects of building distributed systems, I would then suggest to going through the Microservices.NET course.
The idea about the distributed.NET Core was, as I said before, we wanted simply to start recording, do some, let's call this session of the coding, and simply publish this on YouTube. So we were, I would say that there are, besides the technical stuff, right? So the one that you've discussed. So of course, the new course has some sections that we did not covered within the distributed.NET Core. So everything related to the security, some other stuff. So one of the demo lessons, I think that the best one when it comes to the statistics so far. So the outbox pattern within the RabbitMQ. So these are some sort of the topics that make this course kind of I would say, the complex. So not only we try to create the microservices, publish them, and that's it. We try not only to cover the happy paths, we do our best also to discuss some more complex topics. So this is the first things when it comes to comparing these two. I would say the domain itself is more fun and more interesting, more, I would say, not that simple, because let's be honest, within the distributed.NET Core, most of the microservices could be simply could be implemented on top of CRUD. So I would say that the CQRS in most cases was not even necessary in there. While within the Paco we have different challenges when it comes to the domain, and we try to tackle this with the different architectural styles. And this is why we have this microservices fundamentals way more, I would say, advanced, especially for the guys, for all of you who are new to the microservices. That would be quite a lot of material when it comes to the theory and the architecture itself.
Yeah.
So
and pretty much the goal of whether it's this course or whether it's stationary workshops that we are doing from time to time is not to tell you that you should do microservices and this is like a silver bullet. I would say it's quite opposite. I mean, the goal of this course and any other workshops that we are conducting is to tell you that you really need to beware of all of the possible challenges of building distributed systems. And whether you're a developer, architect, DevOps guy, any other role, you should be really aware whether this is a proper choice or not. Because in a lot of scenarios, this could be pretty much an overkill that might be not needed at all. So that's the goal.
And this is the thing that pretty much confuses the participants of our stationary workshops. So you're attempting the workshops called Microservices.NET, and you expect us to simply show you how to create the microservices, and you expect us to suggest you to put the microservices architecture everywhere. And at the very beginning, you hear that you should avoid them as much as possible. And this is basically, I would say that this is the consequence of the conferences, in which let's be honest, within 1 hour, if you want to cover some topic, you cannot simply focus that much on the pros and cons. You simply do your best to show some code, to show something new, some new technologies that can help you solve some issues. And of course, if you want to discuss the drawbacks of the microservices, you need pretty much the separated talk for this one. So this is something that you need to be, after this course, you should be rather aware of the challenges that comes once you actually make your system distributed, rather than some sort of suggestion that you should start from now on. You should make all your systems distributed. It's not the way to go, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, you can go.
Okay, so as you can see, it will be over 20 hours, but still, if you look at this section, you could pretty much make another course, whether it's, let's say, testing or security or DevOps. You could make a lot of actually different courses out of this particular section. So this course could last even 100 hours to make it very, very complete. This is really a vast topic when it comes to microservices. So just beware of this choice.
Yeah, but basically I would say that the topics itself, after the theory, are pretty narrowed when it comes to the technology. So because we are not doing the general course about the microservices, and we are focusing only on the .NET Core platform and the C# language and everything related to these technologies, I would say that even though this topic is very wide, and we could actually put some, with every actually week, we could put some other tool or some other framework, and so on. I think that at this point, that what we've done so far in here is more or less complete. So of course, if you have the very specific problems, you will need to figure this out on your own. But in most cases, you should be pretty much covered with this material.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's pretty much it when it comes to the differences.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah, the other question was, should I buy the course once I finish the .NET Core? I think that you discussed this, right? So if you are completely new, stick to the free stuff, and there's a lot of things that are pretty much similar. The domain is not that interesting, but the concepts, of course, we as developers grown, we've learned a few things. We also had, of course, we gained the experience, right, when it comes to microservices, and we know better what works, what was not that beautiful about the solutions that we put into the D shop. So it's not like we think that the code in this D shop was beautiful, because actually right after we finished the whole series, we split the common package into, and that's how the Convey actually was born. So a lot of code was refactored since then. A lot of code we think that could be written better, and that's simply because we as developers simply learned quite a lot. So, but still a lot of, I would say that still the fundamentals and the core when it comes to the theory is in there. So we should stick to the free material. And if you would want something more than this, maybe something that is not that easy to find when it comes to the, Stack Overflow or something, so more specific issues, then you can simply consider the Microservices.NET. And of course, still, you don't need to buy this course because the code itself is open source. So maybe for you, that will be enough simply to go to the
you can just go to our GitHub.
Yeah. So no matter if you would buy this or not, you can simply, and that is something that was right in the fundamentals of the DevMentors. So the code will always be the open source, no matter whether we will create a course that is paid or not. So then we have the pricing for the course, and I've seen already that there was a question in here. So the discount for early buys. So we can maybe cover this up.
Yeah, so the price, as you can see on the screen, will be 199 euros. And also depending on the region, there will be like VAT tax added, but it will be mostly for the B2C consumer within the European Union. That's the law. But if you are a company, or if you are outside the European Union, you are not paying VAT, and you can always, since you are getting like a full invoice, you can you will just always get an invoice, whether it's for your company or as a private consumer. But keep in mind that there are there will have the discounts. Since we are not doing any sort of pre-sales or early birds, we just release this course in 5 days, and it will be just there as a whole. So there will be a few discounts, and once this course will go live on Monday, like next Monday, here in this section about the course, you will see the button. Let me just show you at our Polish version of this course that we released at the beginning of the year. So I'll just quickly switch to the Polish version, and this is called Microservices NET, which was actually made for our Polish community. So you will see a button like this that will give you 50% discount for the course. You will just click generate at that button, and the only thing that we need to do is to simply copy and paste this text. It will be pretty much saying training with Microservices.NET and the link to the course, and you can share it as a public post on your LinkedIn account or the Twitter. You simply paste there this unique link to your tweet or to your LinkedIn activity, to your LinkedIn post. you click verify, and as a result, you will just get the discount that you can apply to purchase the course. So here we have this automatic validation of your public tweet or LinkedIn post just for sharing this very, very simple text to have this. So we have this reference back to the course. And
worth mentioning that this is actually automated, right?
Yeah, this is automated. So we don't have to write anything to us, just simply paste the URL and it should work. If it doesn't work for any reason, just send us an email or write to us on the chat. If you are thinking of some company purchase or you want to purchase a few pieces of this course with your friends, so if you are buying more than four items, you can get 20 or 25% discount for the course. So I think that's should be quite okay, and the price shouldn't be that big. I would say if you apply 15%, 20%, or even a higher discount.
And one more thing regarding the buying the course itself, just so you know, and right at the very bottom, you have this, that you have 14 days for checking the course, and you have full access to the course. And if you for some reason don't enjoy this, and you'll find that this is not worth the money that you've spent, you can simply write email to us with no explanation, and we'll simply refund every penny that you put on this course. So we'll return the 100% of the value. And even if you will, and even within the Polish version, we had quite often the situation in which the folks bought the course, and then the company decided to cover this. So in this case, you can also simply pay for yourself, and eventually you can simply refund this and buy this via the company that you're working at. So this is no issue either for us. But basically you can check this, and we'll do the refund if you think that this is not worth the money.
And also here we have the link to our community on Gitter, so you can just click there and go to our Gitter and ask any questions. So that's it. And I think that's pretty much it about the course and the pricing and the discounts, and about the accessing the course. So once there is a purchase, once let's say you made a purchase, you simply receive. You simply go through the payments, and you will see like a screen with some unique identifier in which you simply type an email, and you will get an account created for this email, and you can then log in here by providing your email and the password that we will generate for you, like a temporary password. So that's the whole idea about getting an access for the platform. Okay.
I believe that this is it when it comes to this. What we do have, what do we have here? Okay, so any plans for the support? And I believe that I saw the question regarding the checkpoints in here. Okay, so that was from the Andrew. We have the question, and also there was a question whether we do have the support for the participants. So as you can see on the course page, we do have the Gitter. And one more thing which is also worth mentioning is that the Gitter itself is for everybody. So even if you're not going to participate within the course, you can simply join to the Gitter. And we've chose this because of the fact that you can simply open this in the read-only mode, so you don't even have to register yourself, but you can simply do so using the GitHub or some other providers.
So we are pretty much following our principle of publishing the whole source code as an open source solution. So you will find all of the stuff on GitHub. The same way you can always ask us on Gitter or any other participants. You can always send us an email, ask us on a chat. So it doesn't matter whether you decide to purchase anything or not. everything will be there open and public. So that's one of our like core principles, I would say, and we're gonna just stick to it.
Exactly. When it comes to the quizzes or checkpoints, I'm not quite sure what you meant by the checkpoint, but basically we consider doing the homeworks some sort of, but honestly, assuming that would be some sort of homework that would, I don't know, implementing some service or some piece of the microservice, we don't know what will be the number of the participants. So for us, that could be pretty hard to actually check. And at least within the Polish community, we know that not everyone is pretty enthusiastic about doing the homeworks, and basically this is pretty much about the skipping.
But actually, along with the course, you are getting all of those slides, and you are getting like this whole script with the topics that we are going through. And within the script, which is like, I don't know, 80 pages or something, it was quite big. You will find like topics that we are going through, this sort of tasks that we are going through that you will see us, coding in real time, and the questions, or actually the solutions for these exercises. So, I mean, if you are looking for some sort of exercise, you can always, let's say, go to the section, let's implement the reserving resource, or I know, message broker, event handler, and you just look at the exercise description. You try to find a solution on your own, and you will always find there down below our solution, our code sample. So that was our approach.
Yeah. And for more specific questions, you can simply ask on the Gitter. And that's the idea. But maybe if the number of participants who would like to have these features, maybe we could think about some dedicated webinars in which we could describe some sort of webinar during which we could simply discuss the solution for the homework. But we also need some time for our own. So could be pretty hard to do this for every participants if we would simply do the homework and we would have to check it.
And one more thing, we also got a few questions about this one, especially at the Polish version. So once you get an access to this to the course, and if you watch at least 50% of the content, you will see there a button to generate a certificate. And sometimes in your company, for example, they will only, give you the funds for being a part, taking a part in some workshop, or they will purchase a course for you if you can show them some certificate. So we have this simple certificate generation there, and you can always, generate a certificate as this proof that you actually took part in this particular course or workshops.
Yeah. So I guess this is it when it comes to the support. And there was the question about the discounts that we've already covered. And we also had questions regarding the options for the buying. So whether I can buy the course being so basically whether this could be the B2B or B2C, so business to business, if you have the company. Or
so let me quickly show you maybe using the Polish version, since we don't have this buy button enabled yet. So let's say if I go to this Microservices NET, which is like a Polish version, and if I click buy, you will see that you just need to provide my name, my email, my address, and here I choose the country, and I can just simply click on this toggle button and provide my company details. So this tax number, it will be validated if it's in the European Union or not, and you select the payment type, which will be Stripe by default, so the card payment for this English version. And you can just also click this toggle button there, provide your discount code, and click on this make an order button and just confirm this one. So yeah, we as a company, we have this full invoice with VAT. So it doesn't matter if you are purchasing as B2C or B2B.
Yeah, and actually, I would say that when it came to the Polish version, a lot of was done through the companies, and simply because they wanted to found for the employees. So maybe you can discuss it with your managers or some other guys within your company who could consider this one. So it's would be the company's cost, not yours, especially within the COVID times. So it would be much easier.
Yep.
So this is it. And I believe that was the most popular questions when it comes to the Microservices.NET. So once again, the Monday, and we are going to publish, and we simply publish the whole course.
So,
yeah, depending on the time zone. Yeah, the midnight UTC, right?
Actually, midnight Polish time. So UTC, that will be 10 p.m. UTC time. So midnight Central European time. So 10 p.m. UTC, it will go live.
So actually, if you are living in the USA, you have this. I would say 6 hours. Yeah, you can
depending on the part.
Yeah, you can buy this before the others. So some sort of like. Okay, so this is the end of the Q&A when it comes to the Microservices.NET. And then the second thing that we wanted to discuss is the future plans when it comes to the DevMentors itself. So as you probably noticed, once we finish the distributed.NET Core course, we pretty much had no activity on the YouTube channel. So we've done our best to give you the content, and once we finished, we had like 1 year break, something like this, and we had like one video about the Convey, during which we discussed the capabilities of this library and some sort of history why we actually decided. Wow, that lasts for over 1 hour. That's quite long.
Yeah.
So the Convey capabilities, that was the video that we published. But besides that, the channel was pretty much, it's called this dead. So no much activities from us. And of course, we've discussed this with the Peter, and we don't want to simply make some sort of advertising channel during which we would simply cover the courses that we're going to publish. We would like still, since we actually enjoy the distributed.NET Core, the whole recording process, we think that we are ready to move further, and we would like to create some sort of regular lives, and actually that would be not just the live that we are doing right now, but rather live coding. So we would like to meet with you guys every, I'm not quite sure, once or maybe twice a month, and so every 2 weeks maybe, and we actually ask you a question, because the idea about this whole live coding is that we are going to create the application, and the question was simply what type of application should we create, and we also have some ideas when it comes to this application, because we want to make this interesting, not just for us, but also for you. And we would like to create the application based on some, I would say, interesting, but also some challenging domain when it comes to the architecture itself. So not only simple CRUD, which will will be yet another C# tutorial, but rather something more interesting. And what is unique when it comes to this project is that we are going to start with the monolith, and actually modular monolith. And we are going to create the modular monolith application. And once we actually finish this and spot the possible modules that could be extracted outside, we'll simply turn it into some sort of microservice based application. So this is the whole idea. We don't have, for now, we don't have the plan for this, but few assumption that we have is that we want to have this domain pretty challenging and interesting. There will be definitely new stuff when it comes to technologies that was not even covered within the Microservices.NET course. So we are considering the YARP, the Dapper from the Microsoft, and some other technologies that could be eventually used when it comes to the code itself. And we'll probably focus also, or maybe on some C# features that maybe are not very well known for you. Hopefully the C#9 will also come. So we'll do our best to do some mixes. So maybe some sort of a little bit of the Q&A, a little bit of maybe interesting articles that we found during the last 2 weeks. And we will do our best to make this interesting. So I expect that within one live session, we have some few sections, right? So maybe some introduction, maybe some interesting blog posts, maybe some sort of C# related section, and then continuing with the implementation of the application. And of course, the last assumption is that the code itself will be public and will be open source on the GitHub. So that's pretty much when it comes to the lives, right?
Yeah, so we just want to share with you like a whole path, starting from the idea of some interesting project, some interesting domain, like you said, and then, instead of just, all right, let's make this microservices from the very beginning, where, in which case might not even make no sense, we'll just start from, let's say, monolithic or modular monolith application, and then, like you also mentioned, once we'll find out that maybe some modules should be extracted, we want to show you, all right, so how do I actually move this module out of this monolithic application to some, let's say, external microservice? How do we connect one to this app to this service, and so on, along with the usage of some interesting libraries behind the scenes that we haven't, for example, even covered within the Microservices.NET.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the information for you guys, that you can expect us to create some live sessions. We're not quite sure when exactly, but I believe that will be something like the October.
This fall.
This fall.
On DevMentors. Yeah.
And this unique noise when it comes to trailers. Yeah. So of course we'll create this, and this live series will have its own pros and cons. So the pros will be, of course, that I think that will be much more interesting and not that rushy when it comes to the implementing, because we'll simply we'll do our best to talk with you and answer your questions, and actually maybe take some suggestions, because that will be also another advantage of doing the lives, that you could suggest us maybe other approach, maybe other pattern libraries, because we are not saying that we are the best developers. No, we simply know that, and we've seen this very often within the YouTube comments, that there was a lot of great suggestions from all of you guys. So the idea is to create this, that we of course will be typing the code itself, but we'll try to create this some sort of together, right? So this is the idea. Mm-hmm. The cons, of course, is that we'll probably have a lot of exceptions and the issues, but hopefully together we'll do we'll overcome this pretty easily. Yeah, so this is the idea, and I believe that this is when it comes to the lives. Now the second thing that we also consider is the blog. So if you would go to DevMentors.io, you can see that there is a section already in here called the blog. And for now, we have just one blog post.
But it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah. And the idea is, at first we thought that maybe we should publish the blog posts related to the course itself, but I think that, and this is actually a question for you guys, because we consider simply merging, because me and Peter used to, I think that this is fairly, this is preferred to call this that we used to have a blogs.
Let me check.
Mine was actually, no, mine is hacked. Don't go there. Yeah, mine is hacked. So I think that this is PR now. Yeah.
But I think mine's still there.
Yeah, but basically we used to have the blogs, and both in English. I also blogged in Polish, but we, because of the PACO, because of the other activities, we simply stopped doing this, and we think about merging these two blogs. So we're not going to bring the archived posts, but we think about creating basically one blog in which we could simply publish the blog post. So in here, I think that, and this is a question for you, whether you want the post only specific to the microservices, modular monolith, or the other courses that we're going to publish, or everything related to the .NET itself, because we think that this could be more interesting. So maybe some C# features, maybe some great tools that are upcoming, and so forth. So this is also something that we consider, and I believe that we will be able to publish, I would say, at most 2 posts a month, right? That would be fair. So something like, I could expect 2 live sessions and 2 blog posts. And I believe that the plan would be that we would publish the live first, and right after this we could simply publish the blog post and maybe a link to the live also, just to have this connected as some source of knowledge. So this is the other plan that we are going to introduce soon. And do we have also, have we considered something else? One more thing for the meetup, right?
Yeah, some sort of, let's say, meetup or live webinar session, but with some guests. I would say this is like a work in progress, so we can't promise anything new yet, but hopefully at some point in the future we'll be able to run some sort of live sessions, just like on some online conferences with some very interesting guests. But this is planned for the future as well.
Yeah, I think that we could consider this one. So probably if we need to consider this first, but the idea would be simply to, if maybe you are already familiar with the public speaking, maybe you have some experience, and maybe you have some very interesting topics. So the idea is that we as a community could simply come up with some presentations. So the idea would be pretty straightforward. We would simply have this live session that would last for like 2 hours, during which we would have 2 sessions, right?
Yeah, that could be it. It could be live coding or just a regular public speaking with some slides. So whatever works for you.
Yeah, and of course that will be, since this is that will be the online version, because we don't have the we don't have any other possibility to actually meet all of you guys. So maybe there would be a chance to also introduce, or maybe actually to introduce some well-known developers, engineers, But of course, we would need to ask the experts, and maybe some guys would be interested in some session within this meetup. So the meetup is something that we still consider. I think that would be a pretty cool idea, and the meetup would be, of course, the once a month, I believe. So that would be pretty much a lot of things that would actually
a lot of content.
that would be a lot of content. 2 live session and 1 meetup. So we need to consider this, but this is the general idea about our plans, and of course the blog post. So this is pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Especially what we have planned from our side for today. All right, I think you can disable for now the screen sharing. I can also take a look at the chat.
Yeah, we're bigger. Oh, now I'm on the left. I think that I used to be on the right.
Oh, I can see a lot of messages.
Yeah, I will go through the questions. Okay. So discounts, we have this. Here we have the, are you able to code along with this course? I would say that, yeah, you could. It pretty much depends on your learning style, right? Because of course you could try. I would say that the pace, when it comes to the implementation, when it comes to the course, within the course, the whole microservice that we're going to create will be pretty much implemented from scratch. So of course you can create, the idea is that within the GitHub repository, you have the separated branch. So you can simply check out, you will have the clean solution with all the references. So the whole structure is prepared. So of course you can basically play the video and code along with us. And the idea is that we will implement the whole microservice from scratch, but the whole infrastructure that is needed for this whole system to be up and running is already done. And this is basically the Convey, right? So the Convey stuff, I always have the issue to point the right direction. As this guy shown you, we had this. Oh, we have the. I'm not quite sure whether it's me. Oh no. Okay. Someone had the connection issue, but basically, the Peter shown you the Convey video. So in there you can find the whole history about this and why we have this package. So yeah, the whole infrastructure is packed and referenced as a Nugget packages to our application, but the whole domain and actually making usage of the Convey is done from scratch. So
yeah, and we have this script file, so you can always stop the video and just try to write something on your own, because it's like pretty much one-to-one.
Yeah. All right. Another question. Do you have a chapter to tackle the front-end part so the big image will be clear? And unfortunately, the answer is no. And we actually, I believe that we had the repository for this one, but we did not focus that much on the front end. And at the very beginning, we have this introduction about the whole flow and what are the requests. And in most cases, we are within the one module, we're working with one, maybe two endpoints. So it's not, I would say that it's not necessary to actually understand the content. But
yeah. I mean, we started working on some UI for the Paco in the past, even in Blazor, as far as I remember. I think then we just switched to Angular just to make it faster, so we have some experience with being like full stack developers. But then we started like building the DevMentors platform from the scratch on our own. and it pretty much consumed all of the time left that we had. So we couldn't really afford to work on the UI for the Paco at the time.
Right. I would say that we have one module with the front end, and this is the section dedicated to the gRPC and the SignalR.
SignalR,
Actually, the SignalR. And once you will actually see this front end, you will realize why we don't have the front end for the whole application. That would be pretty embarrassing, I believe. All right. Then we have. Do we have the questions?
I think I'm not sure if that was dropped back then, but there was one question about, I think it was Convey, I guess. I'm not sure if you answered that one. But actually, so on my side, I've been using Convey. I mean, not the whole version. I mean, not all of the packages, but some of them, or whether it's through the Nuggets as the standalone packages, or whether we made some fork of these packages and maybe adjusted the code to our own needs in production, and it's just fine. Because if you take a look at the source code, like most cases, it's usually some sort of wrapper with the Fluent API on some already existing libraries. So it's not like our custom logic. Maybe for stuff like inbox, outbox pattern, or a few others, there will be like more of our custom logic based on, like, let's say, some patterns that you can read about. But in a lot of cases, it's just some helper methods that is like glued with other packages with this Fluent API. So it's just fine. And actually, I'm using it in a quite big project, I would say. So.
All right, then we have something more specific. Where should I hold settings, class, database settings in a clean architecture within the infrastructure? Since the infrastructure is aware of the fact that you actually have some database, the application layer does not necessarily have to be aware about this fact.
Or in the particular adapter, if you are following port and adapters approach as a standalone project.
Yeah. Then we have the question, have you thought about giving a discount for students? We thought about this, and actually we're not quite sure how we could simply validate this one. It would be pretty hard to, especially
I think we would have to go through some emails that belong to the university domain, and we would need some sort of, let's say, list of universities or some educational domain validation. I think that would be the only possible choice, but it could be quite difficult, at least to implement in 4 days.
All right. We have, are you going to have Python clean architecture course on your platform or something for advanced Python developers? For now, we don't have any plans for that. That's basically because we are not Python developers, so we stick to the .NET itself. Maybe in the future, if we'll have some trainer who would like to join our team and record such a course, that would be something that we could consider. And I believe that. One more thing, because this actually reminds me that we've skipped pretty important part when it comes to future plans. The Microservices.NET is not the only course that we're going to publish. Of course, we're planning to do so within like 5 days, but the next one within the queue would be the dedicated course for the modular monolith. So I believe that at the very beginning of the 2021, we could expect this one when it comes to the English version. And we will do our best to cover this and what are the differences between the regular, let's call this regular monolith and the modular monolith, and what are the the whole structure, the communication between the modules, and a lot of stuff that is worth knowing, especially if you eventually consider turning your application into microservices.
So actually, if you work on microservices and you will feel overwhelmed, and you will ask yourself a question whether there is a better way to do it, the modular monolith could be the answer that can lead you to eventually having microservices, or maybe not at all.
Yeah. And I think that I wanted to add something. Not quite sure now. Yeah, but basically this is what we are going to, and yeah, what we are going to do. Then we have.
I think the next one. This one.
Yeah. Thanks for the course. Do you talk about event sourcing? So the question is no, we don't. Actually, we do cover the theory about the event sourcing itself, and we are covering why the CQRS itself does not require the event sourcing, which that necessarily works the other way around. But basically, we cover the theory, but we don't focus on the actual implementation, and this is basically because the application itself did not require such a, let's call this, feature. So we did not have to do this whole projection within the event store and restore the state based on some event sequence. But however, we actually consider, and if you would go to the Polish site, we consider introducing the whole dedicated course for the event sourcing, right?
Yeah, we are still discussing the idea because we have two very good experts related to event sourcing. And maybe if you ever play with Martin library for .NET, we have like one of the core contributors, and we are still discussing whether we're going to do it or not. So because this is a big topic, another course for 10 or 20 hours. So
yeah, and the question is actually because the event sourcing itself is, of course, one of the, I would say, it's such a complex topic, right? So the theory, of course, is not that easy to understand, but then we have the code besides that, and it's not necessarily straightforward, and a lot of things actually need to be covered, especially when it comes to the performance and the way that you're actually perform these projections and so forth. And the thing that we actually consider, or maybe think, is that we're not quite sure whether the topic itself would be very popular, because the event sourcing itself is pretty specific. So we don't know whether the effort put into the course itself would be worth when it comes to the time spent, because there will be pretty much a lot of time spent on this one. So we'll are see. Not saying, we'll see, basically, okay, I have some issues in here. This one is next, or I skipped something? Okay. Great avatar, really nice done. Which microservice? Sorry, my question is that which microservice will you guys prefer, authority or autonomy, and why? You
I'm
mean
not sure if I get this right.
So would I rather prefer my autonomous or have the authority?
I'm not sure about the authority part, because autonomous, yes, I would say I prefer autonomous, but I'm not sure if I understand the authority part right.
Yeah, neither. Maybe you can specify what's all the question about. And will Convoy support authentication with Google, Microsoft, etc., and entity framework besides MongoDB? When it comes to the support for the Google and Microsoft, for now, no. And this
actually,
is actually that you can. There's no need actually for this because the ASP.NET Core itself will allow you to do so, and for other providers.
So we have the middleware there already. And actually, we don't, when it comes to the authentication, we don't rely on any particular database. So if you look at our, let's say, JWT extension, is pretty much the built-in JWT middleware with some additional settings. And you can just, install the Microsoft or some different OF package to your ASP.NET Core as a middleware and just make use of this one. So it's not really, it doesn't rely on any particular database or anything like this. So it's there. It's built by Microsoft mostly.
Yeah, and it makes no sense for us to build a wrapper on top of something that
wrapper.
Designed well by the Microsoft. The idea about the Convey was simply to provide some sort of easy to plug and easy to play components, and that integrate 2 or more libraries within itself. So maybe if we have like the Fabio and the console being the service discovery and the load balancer, it actually made sense to put this together underneath within the Convey internals, or maybe some more specific configuration within the Jaeger or something. So something more specific. But when it comes to the authentication, that's pretty much well designed by the Microsoft and provided within the ASP.NET Core, so makes no sense for us. And actually, I don't know whether this is a question actually, because it has no question mark in here. Handle distributed transactions, microservices architecture like two-phase commit, three-phase commit, Saga pattern. This is actually a dedicated section within the course. Besides
we talk about two-phase commits.
Event choreography, which is of course could be treated as a Saga. I mean, the Saga could be built within the event choreography once you would actually put the routing slips, but basically we talk about this of the two-phase commit, event choreography, and the Saga pattern itself, and the differences between the Saga within its origins and the process manager. So dedicated section for this. I'm not quite sure whether at the very beginning we covered all.
I think this is all.
Yep. Yeah. So to sum it up, within the Monday midnight, we're going to publish the course. So about 25 hours, way more material when it comes to, and better structured with better project actually. When it comes to microservices, with the near future, we'll do our best to inform all of you guys what are our plans. So we will probably decide the particular application that we're going to implement and put this into the modular monolith, and this is pretty much that you can expect, right? And some more updates about the blog posts, about the eventual meetups, and one more question I can see. Can you tell more about the synchronization between open tracing and log? I'm not quite sure what do you mean by the synchronization. So the question is whether the open tracing is some sort of substitute. I mean, this logging to span is substitute of logging, or whether this can coexist, or basically within the Paco we have like the whole observability built in. So basically we have the logging using the in there we have the secu, right? So the centralized logging when it comes to the our system. We also have the metrics, or we have the Prometheus and the Grafana, and the Jaeger. And each of
personally,
them actually.
I mean, personally, I would never replace my logging. There was also the question about Elasticsearch. So let's say whenever one of our systems we are using Elasticsearch along with Kibana, Logstash, and a few other tools. In other system we are using Sec for logging. So I would never actually replace this centralized advanced logging system with just distributed tracing, because distributed tracing is not about having huge logs. You want to have these logs with stack traces in like different places that is dedicated for processing the logs. The Jaeger is all about having these spans in place, seeing all of these dependencies, bottlenecks, and so on, and maybe some small logs.
Yeah, but actually the purpose is slightly different. The logs itself, we also use the Kibana, the whole elk stack. So the purpose is slightly different. The Kibana structural logging actually, in general, allows you to do this deep, just drill down when it comes to some exceptions. So if you have some exceptions within your HTTP request processing, you can simply grab the ID, put this into put the ID into the Kibana. You will see immediately what was happening within, let's say, your handlers, on basically the code that is put into one microservices. While on the other hand, the Jaeger itself will give you some sort of big picture. So what was the data flow between the services? And this gives you the big picture. Maybe you can realize that the coupling between two or more services is unnecessary, or maybe there was some, I don't know, SQL connection which was pretty slow and actually slows the whole request processing down. So I would say that this is not the substitute, not the replacement, but basically you need this for different purposes.
Yeah. And I think the last one question, because as we already said, we have the Elasticsearch integration, but pretty much this is the Serilog. So it's there and you can use it. And the one last question will be about this different database providers. So we have just this additional repository for MongoDB, which is actually a very simple composition pattern in place. So whether we're going to support other ones, we had this plan to have maybe some, let's say, generic or more abstract repository interface. We don't have it yet, so I can tell if we plan to support anything else. But that's pretty much it. That can be easily implemented on your own, in your custom solution. It's just a matter of having some simple abstraction using a framework, Dapper, or another library to talk to your database. Keep this in the infrastructure layer, and you should be good. We just made a basic sample with Mongo.
Yeah. So this is it. When it comes to our live zero, I think that we did pretty good. Could be worse. No connection issues are more serious, so this is cool. So yeah, as we promised, the Monday morning, actually midnight, we publish the course. We do our best using all our communication channels, so the YouTube. Make sure that maybe not all of you are aware of the fact that the YouTube itself has the ability to do some sort of posts, so some sort of tweets. So basically, we'll simply put the updates in here and also on our Twitter, and we'll inform you about the lives, about the upcoming future plans, so blog posts and the other. And it's pretty much it. So thank you once again for joining us, and hopefully you had a good time. I believe that we had. I enjoyed it.
I admit it.
And we see you soon, hopefully on the next live. So thank you.
And see you in the near future.
Yeah.